Hey guys, this is WhytManga here with a new video, and in this video I'm going to be having one of my first sketchbook tours. I've kind of done something like this, similar to this in the past, where I showed you guys several sketches that I've done in my notes, maybe doodling during class and things like that while I was in school. But this one is a little more direct, where we'll be diving into my actual sketchbook. Now, for those who don't know, I'm the creator of Apple Black. Apple Black is published and serialized in Saturday AM. You can read the first 4 chapters of Apple Black on Saturday AM's website, along with other comics that you can find there that are amazing and diverse. You can read the first 4 chapters free for Apple Black on the website. All the links you could possibly need will be in the description. Links to my social media, homepage on Saturday AM, all other Saturday AM stuff, and all other good stuff and goodies will be in the description below. Also, maybe other videos that might be related to this video, because some of the things that are in the sketchbooks are, at least in this sketchbook, are things that I made for videos that I've already created. But, you know, here we're just going to go into my sketchbook, and as you can see, it's a pretty old sketchbook. Oh, and by the way, you can also purchase the first volume of Apple Black with the first 9 chapters. Links to where you can find that will also be in the description. And for those who have purchased it already, I'd like to give you guys a big shout out. Thanks, I really appreciate it. I hope you guys stay tuned for volume 2. So, the sketchbook, you know, it's pretty old. I wasn't sure if I was going to show it. I can't remember how long. I'd say that this sketchbook was probably, I got this maybe mid-2014. Mid-2014 or early 2014, but I'm gonna say 2014. And as you can see, I haven't really taken too much care of it. I think it's partly because I think there was a time I was looking for it. I didn't know where it was. But real quick, please don't pay too much attention to my voice. I'm a little ill. And if you see some drawings where I've folded the paper, that's only because maybe it's artwork that might be spoiler, or I just don't feel like showing it for whatever reason. And trust me, it wouldn't be because it looks bad, because I don't care. First drawing here, we have Sano, and this was supposed to be like an idea for Volume 1's cover. Obviously, that's not what happened. I can't remember why I didn't pick this, but I remember wanting the hand, Sano's Orota's hand, to be a prominent thing within the cover, and I like how this hand is drawn anyways. So this is a pretty good drawing, but obviously I opted for something else. So that's what this was, and we had some Gogodores, and those are kind of like some mutant mutant-like birds in the series that you'll find at least from like chapter 2 moving forward. They're kind of like animals that are harbingers that signify that, you know, something's coming, kind of like. Anyways, and we have like some more alternatives here. The next one, which is actually what I opted for, and initially I was going to have like Whyt, which you can also think of as like the mascot of the show, also featured on the cover, but again, not there. I opted to just go main character, just main character. So yeah, I went with this. It really pops out. The Orota's arm really pops out, and it's a really big key element of the series. And I like the smile with Sano, where I'm trying to find a smile or a facial expression with Sano that kind of doesn't give off an unimpressed look or maybe a lazy eye kind of vibe. Well, I was looking for more of a kid that's a kid that can be snarky and can be a smartass, but is generally a nice, heart-loving, occasionally goofy fellow who's also clueless to this new world. It's kind of like he's basically a socially retarded character because due to isolation. If you read the story, you know what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't say there are other characters that would be really like him to the core. But if I was gonna give any comparison, I'd say maybe Rurouni Kenshin from Samurai X or Rurouni Kenshin. But yeah, that's Sano. This is the cover that I opted for. You still have the birds, and I kept the birds in, but had them further away than they are here. Moving on, this is just stuff for me figuring stuff out. I also doodle on my books, so we have some like random characters' facial sketches, as you can see. So I'll try my best to show. I don't really in my sketchbooks you rarely see finished work. It's just me playing around with ideas and putting things together. So you have some, again, random designs. But here we have a design for one of the antagonists for the series, some ideas with wands, and I think I'll have a separate video explaining how wands work in my series. Because in my series, they're sorcerers, but it's very different from how maybe wands might be depicted in a franchise like Harry Potter or things like that. It's very different and different in a way, in a positive, in a very positive way, at least in my opinion. And then this is another character, and you can see the wands kind of have names. Basic gist is the wands can be almost anything. A wand could be a marker, cigarette, glasses, lens, a book, and so on and so forth. I'll save that for a wand video, but these are just character design stuff that you can also find in the Apple Black Volume 1 book. For those who have the book, these drawings would be a little familiar to you. Again, flipping through, here you have some storyboards for Apple Black Chapter 10. The first volume has chapters 1 to 9, and this was when I started storyboarding for chapters 10 to 18. That will be in Volume 2. And here you can see it's pretty old, and the sketches are pretty dull, but you know the pages are already made, so I don't really care too much, but I'm still going to try my best to preserve it as much. There's no use really showing you guys all this stuff because you can't really see it. And again, you still have some doodles, some random character designs, a random goggle here. You know, I still sketch randomly and zone out when I can, unconsciously, whatever. And you know, they go on and on. More storyboards, more random character designs over here. Some might be future characters in Apple Black. And you know, some you might actually be familiar with if you're subscribed to Saturday AM magazine and you're up to date with Apple Black. Same thing. You come over here, some sketches. This is the initial stages of a character design I was trying to put together. Here is a quick sketch of Bray Wyatt from wrestling, because I'm a big pro wrestling fan. So if you're familiar with that, you would be familiar with Bray Wyatt. And again, continuation of random characters, character designs, character ideas that might spark up future character designs and so on. Here you can see in the storyboards, the way I storyboard is that I write the script, and then the script helps me develop the boards and helps me with the decisions I make while creating the pages. But you know, sometimes it goes vice versa, and I might come up with an idea while I'm storyboarding, which will go back and influence the script. And you can stay tuned for a video that will be coming out if it's not out already. They'll focus more on my thought process when I'm storyboarding. You can see sometimes if I don't like a panel, I'll draw like an alternative panel rather than drawing the whole page all over again, just to see if it will look better. You can see what we have here, a little more dynamic. The camera angle is just a little more interesting, basically. And that's what I'm trying to put together. That kind of goes on. So you're gonna see a lot of storyboard stuff in my sketchbooks. See some character design work here. I'm just playing around. It's really nothing. And some of these notes are notes that help me when I'm creating tutorials. Like this was a tutorial for drawing a face from different angles. And you should be able to find these videos on my channel. Same thing here. You have a character here where I was thinking of character designs, and I ended up finalizing that design in a video. And it's a video where I'm creating characters from scratch. And I talk, basically, you would see me create this character from scratch, as the title suggests. And these are characters that will be featured in Volume 2. But the funny thing about this character from that video, even after the video, I redesigned the character again. So one thing I say in the video is that all these designs are subject to change. And her change was drastic. But I'll leave that for the book for you guys to see yourselves. Again, you have some designs. I'm all over the place with my sketchbook. I'm playing around with potential designs for future characters as well. Here we have a character, Mikhail. Again, this was for a video where you're drawing a character face from 4 different angles. There's a video for that. If you're interested, go check that out. And I actually really enjoyed this. The character Mikhail is actually one of the most fun characters to draw for me. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's the eyebrows or whatever. So if you want to see me draw all this stuff, there are videos to see me do that. And again, going back to this character, if you follow me on Instagram, where I also post some work in progress shots, you can kind of tell who this character has become now. As you can see, she's an amputee with her left leg missing, and you kind of have this weird robotic leg in place. I don't know if I want to go and say it's robotic, but let's just say robotic for now. It's more armor than robotic, but there are some elements where both ideas are intertwined, whether it's just armor or robotic leg. There's more to it than that, but going on, you have some more drawings of me doing tutorials, drawing characters from below, and you see I drew another one here, you see one here, you see another one. This was kind of the same one. Just to figure out which one was better, and the better one, I believe the better one was used for the tutorial, and nobody saw this one. But it's all good. Here we have Santa again, but drawing it from below. And these were shots that I know that were difficult for me to learn while I was trying to figure out how to put my manga together and just learn the basics before I started my comic. These are the things that I found very difficult, so I chose to make tutorials on them. Again, this is the character again. And even the name changed. The name, the backstory, everything about her changed. The hairstyle, like, so drastic. And I think maybe I'll leave a shot of her in the screen, on the screen, so you guys can see the new, the character's name is Jade. So the new version of Jade, currently in Apple Black. Here are some character poses. I also made a video about these where I've drawn characters in 20 different ways, and I think the video did pretty well. So you know, some of you have seen it already, and I had fun with these. Some of these were influenced by images that I already seen, other people's sketches, my previous sketches. It's a combination of things, but some of them, some were even like influenced by some images that I saw on DeviantArt and things like that. But yeah, these were fun to draw. It was kind of like fun practice to just pencil these out really quick, almost like a challenge for myself, as well as I think a useful video. Here we have really random drawings again, just playing around with someone opening their mouth really wide. Kind of looks like the Hulk a little bit, and the speed lines help the drawing pop it out. The shading in the face is pretty good. Here I was wanted to draw like a character almost in a wrestling maneuver, maybe in a submission maneuver kind of thing going on. I thought it was really good, but you know, I was fooling around, nothing too serious with it. Most of these are light sketches. I don't really have that many final stuffs in my sketchbook. Here again, you got some character ideas, but most of these are actual final characters that will appear in the comic, but these are just at least initial drafts of how the characters look, and some of them have already debuted. But I made a video focusing on their hairstyles, which was the 20 ways drawing hairstyles, where the idea was that, you know, it's especially when you're the artist, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. You kind of can get away with a lot of stuff, no matter how ridiculous they look, like this Johnny Bravo-esque look here. But there's a video on this as well. I thought that video did really well too. And that's what this was. Just me drawing characters from my series and then recording myself while putting their hairstyles on to show variety. And did a little 2 more here. Got a character design for Ruby from Apple Black again. Still playing around with some designs, and you know, in my series I kind of want to make things not too static, a little more dynamic, so where characters may or may not, but may change attire maybe after arcs and things like that. And this is a different character, again, also part of my series, and the character is also going through a lot of change. Just like the Jade character, this is actually his name is Jahal, and yeah. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen what he looks like now, and trust me, it's vastly different. And not just different, I believe the changes that I made are much better. But these designs were pretty okay. I was playing around with how his armor would look. I'm pretty happy with what I came up with now, and they're actually twins, the characters. More storyboard stuff here. Yep, that's all this stuff is. Just me trying to figure out how the page layouts are going to look and how I'm going to put all that stuff together. And I have, ignore the math, but I have like some notes everywhere telling me what changes to make. So just so I don't erase the first iteration, and maybe I like this headshot, I want to insert it here. So I have like a headshot here and a little note somewhere, and then maybe an arrow where it's going to be, where it's going to end up. The thumbnails are actually numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm trying to put that together. Again, alternative poses for certain characters. So yeah, there's a lot of figuring out that takes place. Again, more storyboards, more math for some reason. What the hell are these? I don't know. Here we have a character. Well, it's not my character. This is more like fan art, but it's me joining two characters together. One with Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and then Jin Kazama from Tekken. And that's what this was. And this was kind of like a thumbnail of how I wanted the drawing to look. And then I have a final drawing somewhere else, and hopefully I put it on the screen for you guys to see. Here was the cover for a potential issue cover for Saturday AM magazine, where I was going to have the characters in some kind of uniform, because you can say it's uniform that they would eventually have to wear, kind of, sort of. I'm still figuring stuff out, but I'm kind of holding it back for now, and I think I went for a different cover. Here are where I did drawing character hairstyles 20 ways again, but this time with my female characters. And you have some characters, some hairstyles that I'm kind of proud of and are, in my opinion, sort of iconic. Here's how the Jade character was going to look again. It was almost like I designed a character, then I designed it again, and I did it one more time, and I'm happy with what I have now. So sometimes iteration is pretty good. You got some characters, some of the pencil smudges and pencil marks are all over the place, but everything's still pretty okay. You can go watch this video, you see me where I'm putting in all the hair. Some of the characters here have also gone through some changes here and there, but overall most of them have stayed the same. Added in the last one here just for fun. It's almost like a character from The Ring, sort of, with the hair all covering most of their face. I kind of use my sketchbooks to do all sorts of stuff, and so it's not just sketches. It's also something that I use to help organize me. Here's some samurai poses that I did for 20 Ways Drawing Samurai Poses. Again, these are things you can watch. I will leave links to as many as I possibly can, but they will all be on my YouTube channel for you guys to go check out. And some of these were inspired by poses that I've seen from some magazines. It was a Japanese book, actually. It had some pictures in it of like actual samurai. Well, not actual samurais, but like models posing and doing some samurai stuff with swords and all that kind of good stuff. And not all of them. Some of them were some drawings like this one, or just from my head. So sometimes I use reference, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use reference with the purpose of not needing to use reference again. So it's more like studying whatever I see, and not just copying. You can watch that video and see me draw all of these. I really like this one. The pose is a little more dynamic. The character's kind of twisting in a way. Almost about to strike. Got some speed lines. Got some smoke from the ground. You can see that maybe he's screeching a little bit. Fun stuff. Got this drawing I did when I believe when we hit 20,000 subscribers. I think that's what this was for. But yeah, thanks for the support. Saying thanks again because recently we hit 100. Back to some of the samurai drawings because it was 20 ways, and here are, I guess, the rest. I got characters doing some really cool, fun stuff. I like this one too. And this. And some of these poses, even though they were influenced by images I've seen and some from magazines and stuff like that. These aren't how they look exactly. Sometimes I change things. Maybe I switch where the sword is at, where the sword is, where the character, where the model is holding the sword. Maybe I'll change its looks, like the models didn't dress up like this, so I changed a lot of stuff. And again, not all of them are from what I've seen. Not all of them are from images. Some of them are just from my head. So it's a mixture of everything. Everything's kind of a mix. Got more here. Like these weren't from the, like these are examples of things that weren't from the, these are from my head. And you got like, you see the character almost like he's opening the sword. You see the Rurouni Kenshi-like character, or Rurouni Kenshin, I don't care. Kind of having like a, I can't remember where I saw this pose, but I saw it as a kid, and I wasn't looking at reference. I saw it, and I was just trying to recreate that. And you got a weird one that I'm not too sure what I was doing, but I wanted to draw like a really weird villain kind of like character holding the sword, and maybe the sword has some inscription. Random scribbles. Same things, 20 ways drawing hand gestures. Again, there's a video on that, and this is just me showing you guys how I draw hands in really difficult positions, and kind of methods and formulas and approaches that I take. You got some more antagonist drawings from Apple Black. This is Grawlin, Manga. You got more hand gesture drawings. One of, with Mikhail smoking without his beanie. I like this one a lot. It's kind of like so like a little fireball kind of arm. Then you got more stuff here. Hips. Kind of like tiny. I don't know what this is. This is a blade. So there's that. I got the West Side hand gesture. And yeah, the sketchbook's pretty old. It's got some stuff in here. You got this that I did when I was making a video for how to draw clothing and like wrinkles and creases and all that good stuff, which there's a video too as well. Drawing my character in like a shirt and a tie and all that stuff. And I also drew maybe Saitama and drew some other things to help demonstrate whatever I was talking about at the time, and putting all that good stuff together. You got a little Bray Wyatt, and you got some more illustrations over here. You got Steph Curry. Basketball. I'm actually not that big of a basketball fan. I'm more of a soccer fan. But why did I do this drawing? I can't remember. Well, actually, now I do remember why I was doing this drawing. It was kind of like a school project I was trying to do. And, you know, it would just be this video would just be much longer if I was going to give the full explanation. The short gist was I was going to do almost like a recycling project where you would have two popular figures on the side, and you would have to vote for one, but you wouldn't be voting. You wouldn't be voting with actual like votes. You'd be voting with your litter. So whatever the trash was asking for, there would be like two, let's just say buckets or two holes. And one hole is representing where you want to vote. So if you believe maybe Steph Curry had a better year than LeBron or something like that. So I have an image of Steph on one side and LeBron on the other, and people would vote with their litter. And they did something similar, but they did it with cigarette butts. And I think what you had to vote on was who the better soccer player was, and that was, I think it was between Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. If you're familiar with soccer, you're familiar with that argument. It keeps coming up. Here are some videos where I was trying to teach people how to define your style, how to come up with your art style and things like that. So there's a video of that you can go check out. And I think this was also part of that video, a random drawing, and I think I explained in that video as well. You got a random elf-like figure over here. And I also did this in that video as well. Yeah, you know, pretty decent character design in my opinion, I believe. Here we had was a cover for a future Saturday AM issue cover, which I did, and you know I was playing around with the ideas of how I wanted it to look, how I wanted the character to pose, but I went with this. I'm happy with that. Here are some other drawings. They just kind of were, you know, me fooling around, almost like warm-up sketches, trying to figure out how I wanted certain poses to be, certain camera angles to be. Just fool around, drawing my character in several angles so you become comfortable drawing the character over and over and over and over and over. Having some ideas of how you want things to go, how you want certain scenes to look, how you want characters to hold certain things, and I'm just playing around with all this stuff and eventually doing a doing storyboards. Same thing's going on here. And some of these are actually cool poses that I ended up not using, but I might use later. Like this one's pretty good. I like this. This one's pretty cool. This one's pretty cool as well. These I like. This I thought was it was kind of like a funny moment in Volume 2. But so far so good. Same thing. Here you can see me with notes of me trying to come up with an app, but at the same time doodling from character designs. Again, trying to do things that would be unique, giving the character features that will be memorable and really make them stick out, making it part of your iconography. Random characters. These characters are actually nobody. I don't know who these are, but maybe they could influence an idea for a character that I have later. Who knows? More storyboard stuff. That's what this is. So all these are. I don't want to go through too much of them because just in case someone's really looking closely and could potentially spoil stuff. This was these are headshots for a commission I did during that time. Same here, but this wasn't. This was, you can think of it more of an art as an art trade, but this wasn't really a commission. And you got like storyboards again for other stuff. If I want to change things, I have notes kind of letting me know what I want to do. And that's what these are, just storyboards for certain ideas. And I still changed a lot here. But again, I made a video about this as well. I made a video about the comic itself, and I'll probably leave some shots of the comic on the screen so you can see. And I think I did the storyboards one more time because I didn't like what I did before, and I think this was kind of more along the lines of what I went with. And this was me trying to design the character, figuring out his colors, figuring out how I wanted him to look, figuring out how I wanted his gun to look. And you know, just to make it look a little more unique, to show that maybe there's something special about the gun. And yeah, so I was playing around with the idea. Maybe he had a bucket hat on. I don't know. And the other character in the short little tiny comic, also playing with her character design and how I wanted her to look. And yeah, in that video, you see what I actually ended up coming up with. Here you have like drawing for Erodus Sano. I also made a video on Erodus Sano. Obviously, he doesn't look like this, and even how he looks in that video is also still subject to change. A lot of stuff are just drafts. They're subject to change. Again, here you got some more storyboard stuff. Just playing around, figuring out how I want things to look on the comic page. These are notes. You got some character design stuff going on here, and you got notes of me trying to figure out how to design like an iOS app. Again, more character design stuff. Potential Iron Man design. I don't know. More character design headshots. I'm usually, anytime I doodle, I usually find myself drawing headshots more than anything else. Again, more headshots. Headshots, but more interesting angle. Or tougher challenge with the character looking up. Again. But this one's a little more challenging. Got some superhero looking kind of art. Character design. You know, playing around all that good stuff. You know? And these are usually fun to do. Fun character designs, warping my style a little bit. Again, some more weird designs. This a little Deadpool-esque, same thing going on here. Hand shot, weird villain, I don't know who he is. A hand reaching towards you, Ruby from my comic Apple Black. So we have a lot of headshots. Again, you can see those guns, bringing those back, finalizing the designs of how I want those to look. Playing around with an eye patch, removed it. And then more character designs. Here we have Zebediah Ford. This is also a character that I did the designing from scratch videos with, but I was happy with this one. So even though there are still some changes to his final design in Volume 2 of Apple Black, the changes are, you know, very mild. They're not that crazy. I was pretty satisfied with what I came up with, for the most part at least. And then you still have some sketches here, somebody on a bike, and with this drawing I remember drawing the fists first. I think that's how the sketch came. It's just a doodle, and I remember the fist coming out first, and I said, oh, you know what? Let me draw a bike, and then I drew the hand, and then I started drawing the bike, and then I did the second fist, and then I drew the rest of the bike, and I was like, you know what? Let's draw the rest of everything, you know. And then I sketch, and then I got a little bored. But some of these drawings and character designs might influence what I do later on, you know, and influence maybe designs that I come up with for maybe future characters in any of my projects. And moving on, you have more headshots here. Actually, I really like this one too. I think he's wearing like a bandana and, you know, some hair going back. See, drawing this lady. I think I was looking at. I was watching a movie or something, maybe on Netflix. But I like the angle that I'm drawing her from, and I really like this design too as well. These are just random things. They're whatever. And these were the initial designs for Zeb, and they kept changing on, and you know, it kept changing and changing and changing. More designs, drawing characters from different angles, eye shots and things like that. This is actually going to be a big figure for After Black moving forward, but these are just me playing around with some designs, more design stuff, more headshots, more warped style stuff. Again, this is a character I did for drawing a character head turnaround kind of thing, and I have a video on that. You can check that out as well. Again, random character. Not really too much going on here. Same thing going on here, you know, just a headshot. This was another one, drawing character from scratch. And here, this was the first time I took ideas from you guys, where you guys gave me a character description, and I picked my favorite one, and I designed the character from scratch. And you know, I like what I came up with here. I like the angle. This was like the final drawing the character from a head. And in fact, I'm just gonna go this way now. And these are like initial designs I was drawing for her. And you can also find these in the video as well. More commission work. Then this character looks. I try to make him a little bit like David Beckham, holding a Coke. But you know, these are just commission work. More commission work. Commission work. Commission work. Commission work, nothing too important here. Nothing too important going on. More commission work, same. I think these were for like, you know, instructional kind of stuff, safety. It was like a safety work and stuff like that. So nothing too drastic, nothing too crazy. I kind of remember altering some of these drawings on the computer, scanning in, and altering them. But for the most part, just commissions. This was a drawing from a video where I was talking about styles and showing other famous comic artists draw other series that aren't theirs. And I think this one was about Naruto, so I drew just, you know, my version, drawing Naruto in my style. I did the same thing for Luffy, so there was a Luffy video for that. This is a straight up ballpoint drawing. What else we got? Did something similar for Cloud, not exactly the same, but something similar. This is Cloud, so Cloud from like Final Fantasy, that's what I'm talking about. And you know, these are just like quick, simple, easy sketches. More character stuff here, but these were more focused on Jungian archetypes for characters. And you got things like, if you start here, you got innocent character, and you got an orphan, a regular character. And you can, you know, do some research on Jungian archetypes, all 12 of them. You got an innocent, orphan, or regular. You got your hero. And I was just fooling around. Nothing too crazy. A caregiver. And, you know, something similar to maybe an Alfred from Batman. I was thinking maybe a caregiver for the main character and things like that. Long story short, I actually can't remember exactly why I made all the decisions I made, but you got an explorer, a rebel, creator, and you know, these are quick drawings. I was more focused on, you know, how the character will look and things like that. Your lover and magician. Again, I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan when it comes to pro wrestling, so this was inspired by Bray as well. I was actually looking at a real person when I did this real quick. I'm not going to go into more detail about that. But, yeah. Again, more drawings here. This one was, I remember this one. I remember this because I did this while watching the first season of Daredevil, as you can see. But I try to challenge myself and not draw, and, you know, draw straight up with just ink, and also not pause the screen. So this is while I was watching Netflix, and I didn't pause the screen. And I was also taking note of some of the dialogue, because I think Netflix, Daredevil Season 1 is the best Marvel superhero show to me, right? All the other ones are good. Like, all of them are good. Like, really good. But I think Daredevil Season 1 is the best to me. And Iron Fist, the recent one, I think is the worst. I think it's still good, but I think it's the worst out of all of them. But I was taking note of some dialogue stuff, and I really liked. So I was writing some dialogue, like for instance, you see something like something really subtle, like restore your house to order. I thought, you know, some of the dialogue choices were things that I felt that maybe I wouldn't think of. I wouldn't think of right off the bat. And I was trying to explore my horizon, I guess, when it comes to dialogues, putting words together, and maybe it would affect how I come up with dialogue for my series moving forward. Studying other characters and studying how other artists and creators and film writers and script writers, screenplay writers, and also all that stuff, how they put dialogue together, or things like "You may leave us," right? I might have said that differently, but I like how it's said here, and just giving me more options and allowing me hear more words, more spunk in from, you know, characters that aren't mine. It's one of those things where I like how it's said here, and I feel like if I did it on my own, it might not sound as good unless I spent way more time putting all that dialogue together in it. And you know, sometimes when you're creating comics, you don't have all the time in the world. So I'm writing some things like Not My First Rodeo. Most of these were from Daredevil. And I like doing this stuff for shows that I think are good, and maybe it would influence how I come up with dialogue for series moving forward. But besides that, you got things like Madame Gao. I also try to do that with Madame Gao. And you got obviously Daredevil here, and you got other random characters floating all over the place. You know, boom, 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 boom. You know, just challenging myself a little bit, but at the same time, I was more focused on getting all that dialogue written down. And again, Sano drawing, some commission stuff, and that's pretty much it. More Sano drawings here. You got a little character design here for some of the villains for Apple Black Volume 2, and you might recognize him, but he's obviously, you can clearly see that he's changed a little bit. There's still some aspects of this character design that I still like, but a lot of them has changed. Same here, and I think I used this for a video where I was talking about, how you can come up with story chapters and things like that. So you can check out that video as well. And see another character or potential character for Apple Black. Actually, this is going to be a character for Apple Black, but I've changed him quite a bit, and he doesn't appear until like really later, so I'm not going to go into detail with that. More Sano drawings, and some, you know, playing around with light and stuff like that. Again, just going with only ink. More drawings here of maybe a wrestling story idea that I had. Playing around with character designs for it. The character is kind of inspired by Tyler Durden from Fight Club. But here we had me trying to design the ship in Apple Black. I like what I came up with. Obviously, there's some changes from when you compare it to this one, but I like what I came up with. And that's pretty much it. That's it. That's it from a sketchbook. That was a long. I thank you guys for watching the video to the end. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. If you like these kinds of videos, and if you want me to do sketchbook tour, because I've had another sketchbook after this, and then I'm on the current sketchbook. So if you guys want to see the next sketchbook, like this video, leave a comment. If you have any things to say or any questions. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell so you stay notified when I upload a new video. Please check out Apple Black. Purchase Volume 1 if you haven't already. Check out my comic. All the support I get is greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for more videos. WhytManga, and I'm out.